someone.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mashup. I'm Felix.
And I'm Kerry. On today's episode, we look into the Australian Youth Climate Coalition.
We learn a bit about the Shrine of Remembrance.
And then we check out the world of second-hand shopping.
But first, we'll see a piece on food know-how.
We all love food, but how much do we really know about the food that we waste? So for example, take these browning bananas. We could either throw them in the bin, which is not only throwing away the money you spent to buy the bananas, but also the water and fertiliser used to grow the bananas and the transport and emissions to get them to our kitchen and to our plates. Australians waste a massive 4 million tonnes of food waste. So it might be hard to believe, but that's 1 in every 5 bags of shopping that we buy, just thrown in the bin. So what if instead we use these bananas to make a chopped banana smoothie or banana muffins or banana pancakes? The peel can be put into your compost bin or worm farm, which is recycled into valuable fertiliser for your garden. So this is the essence of the Food Know-How program, which is being run by Cultivating Community and the City of Yarra. So we're showing households how to reduce their food waste by using meal planners, shopping lists, how to store food properly, cooking with leftovers, and also how to use compost bins and worm farms to recycle food scraps. We're offering subsidised worm farms and compost bins, as well as free workshops and resources and support to help people get smart about food waste and composting.
The Food Know-How program has been really easy to incorporate into our lives. Signing up online was really easy. The materials came out really quickly. So for me, it's really important that we try and reduce the amount of food that we waste, and one of the really good ways of doing that is composting and worm farming. For us, a worm farm is great because we're a small household, we don't have a lot of space, but we can fit a worm farm in. We put all our scraps from our kitchen straight into the worm farm, and then down the track we get worm fertiliser, which is great because I can use it on the veggie patch, I can use it in all of our pots, and it saves me money as well. So it's a win-win.
We're also working with cafes in Yarra to reduce food waste, helping them to set up an organics recycling system that works for them, or collecting their kitchen scraps and coffee grounds in our cargo truck collection scheme.
It started about 13 years ago by Shanaka Fernando. He wanted to, put it simply, he wanted to create a place where people could come and eat together. I believe Lentil as Anything joined Food Know-How through Cultivating Communities. They have been discussing a composting project in conjunction with the Collingwood Children's Farm for a number of years now, and finally it's all coming together and it's all happening.
We've created a network of hubs for composting and worm farms, and our volunteer-powered cargo trucks collect the food waste from cafes, deliver it to our hubs, where it is processed into nutrient-rich fertiliser, which can be used to feed our gardens across the local community. So this is a great opportunity to get involved, to reduce your waste, save money and get the most out of your food. So sign up today at our website www.foodknowhow.org.au.
Composting and recycling foods are great ways to help the environment.
Yep. Speaking of helping the environment, our next segment shows us how climate change affects our future and what we can do to help stop it.
The Australian Youth Climate Coalition is one of Australia's largest youth organisation. Including more than 90,000 young people, the AYCC has a small and committed national team that supports his projects and campaigns. So let's find out more about it.
My role within the Australian Youth Climate Coalition grassroots fundraising. So basically we get a portion of our funding from government grants and philanthropic grants and that sort of thing. But we're also looking to get a bigger portion of our funding from our members so that we can be more member-driven, using this grassroots model where our funding comes from the ground up and is more reliable because it comes from the people that are involved in the organization and want to see it thrive into the future. The funds that AYCC raises goes to a few different things. We basically, our mission is to build a generation-wide movement to solve the climate crisis. So a lot of that money is invested in our schools engagement programs. So we go into schools and basically deliver trainings and workshops on climate change, the science behind it, and then how to communicate it, and things that young people can do in their schools and in their communities to take action on climate change.
My name's Mckenzie. I'm the National Schools Coordinator of the Australian Youth Climate Coalition, and my role is to empower high school students across the country to understand what climate change is and then do something about it in their school. So we go into schools and do presentations, and then we start groups in schools with all the kids that are really keen on sustainability, and then they run a project which we support them to run. The kind of projects that the students do would be kind of anything that they're interested in or an issue that they've identified in their school. So it might be that there's a lot of litter on the ground, which is a big problem for a lot of high schools. And then they would start up a creative way to get people putting their rubbish in the bin and then getting them to recycle the right things as well. And then often they can cash in those containers and make some money out of it to start up another project in their school.
So my name is Phoebe Howe, and I'm the National Campaigner with the Australian Youth Climate Coalition. So in my role as National Campaigner, it's my responsibility to make sure we roll out any of our campaigns throughout any given year. So our national campaigns are really the point where we reach out to this large grassroots base that we're building. The whole point of the AYCC is to build a grassroots movement to tackle the climate crisis. Our campaigns are the way that we mobilise and use that base to try and make change in the world. So our campaigns range from talking directly to politicians about issues that matter to us. So in the past that's been around things like pricing pollution, renewable energy targets, or agreements for when our government goes overseas to negotiate climate change agreements with the rest of the world. So we have a really large volunteer base who get involved in our national campaigns. So the Australian Youth Climate Coalition, we're made up of a big network of local action groups. So in any given state we could have up to 100 action groups, and they're based in metropolitan and regional areas. Then we have our volunteer branches in the states that help manage all of those action groups. And my tricky job is to coordinate all of those action groups to take actions together to make an impact on the issues that we care about. So people can get involved in all levels of our organisation as volunteers. You can start an action group in your community, and the beauty of action groups is that really a grassroots movement is dependent upon people out in their community speaking about the issues that matter to them, to their friends, to their family, to people who know them in their communities. And that's how we grow a larger public awareness and concern for issues like climate change.
In the next few weeks, we'll find out what climate change is and more with Maxwell Smith.
Coming up on Mashup, we visit the Shrine of Remembrance and learn about its history and significance in Melbourne. And then we'll pick up a bargain with Simon & Lewis at a recycle superstore.